Before every great journey, there is a call. Not a sound you hear with your ears, but one that rises quietly inside the heart. For centuries, the world has believed that all mysteries can be conquered. That every land can be mapped, every secret uncovered, but some places do not exist to be conquered. They exist to choose who is worthy. High beyond the reach of ordinary men stands a mountain untouched by time. A mountain that watches, a mountain that remembers. Those who answer its call are never the same again. This is not a story of heroes born with strength. This is a story of courage discovered in fear, of truth hidden beneath stone, and of one man who dared to step into the unknown. Tonight, close your eyes, slow your breath, and listen carefully, because the mountain is calling, and the journey begins now. The whispering legend: there are mountains the world has mapped, named, and conquered. And then, there are mountains that exist only in whispers. At the far edge of the village of Eldervale *, beyond the last flickering lantern and the final dirt road, stood one such mountain. Dark, silent, watching. The villagers never spoke its name after sunset. They believed the mountain listened. On this night, when the wind carried the smell of rain and old pine, Aaron Hale stood alone at the village boundary, staring at the towering shadow in the distance. He had heard the stories all his life. Those who entered the mountain forest never returned. Some said the paths moved. Others claimed the mountain tested the hearts of men. But Aaron knew one truth that mattered more than all the rumors combined. His father had gone there, and never come back. A soft voice broke his thoughts. "Don't go, boy." Aaron turned to see old Merrick *, leaning heavily on his staff, eyes clouded with age and fear. "That mountain doesn't take lives," the old man whispered. "It takes souls." Aaron's jaw tightened. "My father went looking for answers," he replied quietly. "I'm going to bring them back." The wind howled through the trees, as if the forest itself protested. Old Merrick shook his head. "Courage without wisdom is just another way to die." Aaron stepped forward. "Then tonight," he said, "I'll learn both." As he crossed beyond the final lantern light, the village disappeared behind him. And the mountain welcomed him. The last letter the forest closed behind Aaron like a door that could never be reopened. Moonlight struggled to break through the thick canopy above, leaving the path ahead painted in shifting shadows. Each step took him farther from the life he had known, and closer to the truth he feared. After an hour of walking, Aaron stopped beside a fallen tree and reached into his pack. From a leather pouch, he carefully removed a folded, time-worn letter. The edges were frayed, the ink faded, but the words still carried weight. It was the last thing his father had ever written. Aaron had read it 100 times before. Yet here, on the edge of the unknown, it felt different. He unfolded the letter. "If you are reading this, my son, then I have failed to return." Aaron swallowed. "Do not come looking for me out of anger or grief." The forest was silent now, as if listening. "This mountain is not evil, but it is honest." A distant branch cracked. Aaron looked up, heart pounding, then forced himself to continue reading. "It shows you who you truly are, and demands a price for every truth it reveals." Aaron remembered the night his father had left. No dramatic farewell, just a hand on his shoulder. And a quiet promise. "If I do not return," the letter continued, "know this, I chose to stay." Aaron's breath caught. Chose to stay. The path forward will test your fear before it tests your strength. The wind rose suddenly, whispering through the leaves like distant voices. "Trust your instincts. Doubt your shortcuts. And when the mountain asks you to choose," the sentence ended there. No signature. No farewell. Only silence. Aaron folded the letter with trembling hands. For the first time since entering the forest, doubt crept into his heart. What if his father was still alive? And what if the truth meant leaving him behind? A low sound echoed through the trees. Not an animal. Not the wind. Something deeper. Ancient. The ground beneath Aaron's feet seemed to hum, as if the mountain itself had heard his thoughts. He stood slowly. Whatever waited ahead, turning back was no longer an option. With the letter close to his chest, Aaron stepped deeper into the forest. And far above him, unseen in the darkness, the mountain listened. Into the forest of echoes. Narrator. Low, immersive tone. The deeper Aaron walked, the quieter the forest became. Not the peaceful quiet of rest, but the heavy silence of something awake. The trees grew closer together, their twisted branches forming arches overhead, as if guiding him, or trapping him. Every sound seemed to return to him. His footsteps echoed twice. His breath followed a heartbeat later. Even the rustle of leaves repeated itself, soft and distorted. Aaron slowed. He had heard this part of the mountain mentioned only once before. The forest of echoes, a place where the mountain listened and answered. He took another step. Aaron. His body froze. The voice was faint, familiar, too familiar. He turned sharply, scanning the shadows between the trees. No one, only darkness, only echoes. He shook his head and moved forward. Fear, he whispered to himself. Just fear. But the forest disagreed. Aaron. This time the voice was clearer. Closer. It came from the left. Then the right. Then everywhere at once. His heart pounded as memories rose uninvited. Laughter by the hearth. A strong hand guiding his first steps. His father's voice. Come back, the echo said gently. You don't belong here. Aaron clenched his fists. The letter pressed against his chest, warm despite the cold air. You're not real, he said aloud, his voice shaking. You're just the mountain testing me. The forest seemed to sigh. The echoes faded, but the silence that followed was worse. Aaron realized then that the forest was not trying to frighten him. It was trying to understand him. To peel him open. He pressed on until the ground beneath his feet changed. The soil hardened into stone. Ancient stones, carved with symbols worn smooth by time. At the center of a small clearing stood a circle of standing rocks. And within that circle, a narrow path leading upward, toward the heart of the mountain. Aaron hesitated. Behind him, the forest waited. Ahead of him, the mountain called. He stepped onto the stone path. The echoes stopped. The choice had been made. The first trial narrator measured, tense tone. The stone path climbed sharply, winding between jagged rock walls that blocked out the sky. With every step, the air grew thinner, colder, heavier. Aaron felt it not only in his lungs, but in his thoughts. The path ended abruptly at a wide stone platform. At its center stood a single structure, an arch carved from black stone. No symbols, no markings, only a smooth surface that reflected nothing. As Aaron approached, the ground trembled. A deep vibration pulsed through the stone and into his bones. Then the arch began to glow. Not with light, but with memory. The world around him dissolved. He was no longer on the mountain. He was back in Eldervale. The same road, the same houses, but something was wrong. The village was empty. Lanterns burned without flame. Doors stood open, swaying in a wind that made no sound. Welcome, Aaron Hale. The voice came from everywhere. And nowhere. This is your first trial. Aaron's heart raced. What do you want from me? He demanded. To see, the voice replied calmly. To see what you choose when no one is watching. A figure appeared at the far end of the road. A man, wounded, kneeling. As Aaron ran closer, his breath caught. It was his father. Blood stained his clothes. Pain filled his eyes. Help me, the figure whispered. Behind him, the village began to crumble. Stone cracked. Roofs collapsed. The ground split open. The voice returned. You may save him. The earth shook violently. But the path forward will close. Aaron froze. His chest burned. Tears welled in his eyes. Or you may walk away. And continue alone. The image flickered. The pain felt too real. Aaron stepped forward, then stopped. He remembered the letter. I chose to stay. His father's words echoed louder than the illusion. This isn't real, Aaron said softly. The figure screamed. The village collapsed into darkness. Aaron turned away. The moment his foot touched the stone platform again, the illusion shattered. The arch stood silent. The mountain hummed. Quote, You have chosen truth over comfort, the voice said. The first trial is complete. The stone path ahead opened. Aaron sank to his knees, shaking. He had passed, but the cost had already been paid. The hidden gate narrator, slow, reverent tone. Beyond the first trial, the mountain no longer tested Aaron's fear. It tested his understanding. The stone path widened into a vast corridor carved directly into the mountainside. The air was colder here, still, ancient, undisturbed. The walls were etched with symbols older than language, older than memory. As Aaron walked, the carvings seemed to shift beneath the torchlight, as if the stone itself were breathing. He brushed his fingers across the markings. A faint pulse answered his touch. Not alive, aware. The corridor ended at an enormous gate. 2 slabs of seamless stone, towering and absolute. No hinges, no handle, no visible way through. At its center rested a single symbol, a circle, split cleanly down the middle. Aaron felt its weight before he understood its meaning. This gate would not yield to strength. nor to courage. It would open only to honesty. As he stepped closer, the mountain pressed inward. Not a voice, but a presence. A question formed within him, heavy and inescapable. What do you carry? Aaron staggered as memories rose unbidden. Fear, sharp and familiar. Hope, fragile but stubborn. Love that refused to fade. And grief, deep, enduring, unresolved. My father, Aaron whispered. The gate did not move. I carry fear, he said, forcing the words out. Silence. I carry courage. Nothing. Understanding came slowly, like dawn breaking through cloud. Aaron reached into his pack. He removed the letter. The final words of the man he had followed into the mountain. The weight he had carried since the forest closed behind him. With steady hands, he pressed the letter against the stone. I carry the past, he said. The mountain responded. Stone groaned. The symbol widened. The gate began to open. A breath of ancient air poured from the darkness beyond. Cold, endless. As Aaron stepped forward, the letter dissolved into ash between his fingers. Gone. Not taken. Released. The gate stood fully open. The mountain had accepted his truth. And beyond the threshold, something waited. Voice in the dark narrator, low, intimate tone. The darkness beyond the gate was not empty. It was listening. Aaron stepped forward, and the gate closed behind him without a sound. Not slammed, not sealed, simply, gone. The air was colder here, pressing against his skin like deep water. His torch flickered once, then died. Complete darkness swallowed him. Aaron's breath quickened. He could no longer see the stone beneath his feet. Could no longer tell how large the space was. Or how small. Then a voice spoke. Not from the walls. Not from the air. But from within him. You have let go of what you carried, the voice said. It was neither kind nor cruel. Only true. But you have not yet faced what carries you. Aaron swallowed. Who are you? He asked. I am what remains, the voice replied. After fear has spoken. After memory has loosened its grip. The darkness shifted. Not moving. Revealing. Aaron felt the space around him change. The ground sloped downward. Slowly. Inevitably. You seek your father, the voice continued. Yes, Aaron said without hesitation. Then answer honestly, the voice said. If you find him alive, will you leave the mountain? The question struck harder than any trial before it. Aaron opened his mouth, then stopped. Images filled the dark. His father's tired eyes. The quiet certainty in his voice. I chose to stay. I don't know, Aaron admitted. The darkness seemed to deepen. Good, the voice said. Certainty would have been a lie. The ground leveled. A faint glow appeared ahead. Not light, awareness. You believe this mountain judges, the voice continued. But it does not. It reflects. The glow sharpened. Aaron realized he was standing before a still surface. Not stone. Not water. Something in between. Within it, he saw himself. Not as he was now. But as he might become. Older. Hardened. Alone. What you become depends on what you choose to hear, the voice said softly. The reflection wavered. Beyond this place lies the truth beneath the mountain. But truth is heavy. The surface darkened, and once lifted, it cannot be set down again. The glow faded. The darkness returned, but the voice remained, closer now. Rest here, it said. The mountain awakens with the dawn. And so must you. Aaron lowered himself to the cold stone. For the first time since entering the mountain, he did not feel watched. Only prepared. Far above him, unseen and unheard, the mountain shifted. The next trial was already forming. Truth beneath stone narrator calm, tense tone. Dawn broke slowly, though no sun reached the hollow depths of the mountain. Aaron opened his eyes to the glow of phosphorescent minerals along the cavern walls. The air was still, yet heavy, pressing against him like the weight of 1,000 unspoken questions. Rising to his feet, he approached the reflection that had spoken to him in the dark. It shimmered faintly, revealing a path that descended deeper into the mountain's heart. Each step took him past ancient carvings and walls lined with veins of crystal that pulsed like slow, deliberate breaths. He could feel the mountain's consciousness pressing gently at the edge of his mind, urging him onward. Then the surface of a still pool appeared before him. Not water, not stone, something else entirely. Aaron leaned closer and saw a vision within, his father standing at the center of a chamber, surrounded by light and shadow. Aaron, the vision said softly, the mountain does not forgive, but it does teach. I am ready, Aaron replied, voice trembling. The pool rippled, and a stone bridge emerged, stretching across a chasm filled with glowing mist. Every step echoed in the cavern like the toll of a bell. He moved forward carefully, listening to the pulse beneath the stone. The further he walked, the heavier the lessons became. Memories of fear, loss, and the choices he had made pressed upon him. The mountain demanded understanding, not of the world outside, but of himself. As he reached the other side, the vision of his father turned to face him fully. "I stayed," the father said, voice firm but gentle, "because to find the truth, one must sometimes let go of the past." Aaron nodded, finally understanding the weight of the journey. This was the truth beneath the stone. Courage was not in battle. Wisdom was not in knowing. Strength was not in remaining unbroken. It was in choice, and in the willingness to face the consequences. The cavern shivered slightly, as if the mountain itself approved. Aaron felt the burden lift slightly, replaced with clarity. He stepped forward, deeper into the unknown, the next trial waiting beyond the veil. The mountain had revealed a piece of its eternal secret, and he was ready to learn more. The Mountain Awakens narrator, slow, dramatic tone. The air around Aaron trembled. The mountain, vast and silent for centuries, stirred. He felt it in the ground beneath his feet, a deep vibration that resonated in his chest. A low, rumbling growl echoed through the cavernous halls, not threatening, but alive. The walls of the chamber began to shift imperceptibly. Stones moved like the slow opening of an eye. Aaron's torch flickered as a gentle wind swept through, though the mountain had no openings. The glow of the crystals intensified, illuminating vast halls that had been hidden in shadow. A sense of awareness settled over him. The mountain was watching, and learning. From the depths of the cavern, a path opened, a spiral of stone descending into an abyss. Every step he took sent ripples through the ancient structure. Whispers rose from the walls, voices from long past, murmuring the stories of those who had dared enter before. Aaron's heart raced. He had walked fear, choice, and truth, but now he faced the mountain as a living entity. The air pulsed in rhythm with his own heartbeat. Ahead, a massive chamber appeared, lit by the natural luminescence of minerals embedded in stone. The center held a massive, jagged stone, the heart of the mountain. It throbbed, sending waves of energy that made his skin tingle. "You have reached the awakening," a voice resonated, not just in the chamber, but in his very mind. "I am the mountain," it said. "I remember all who enter, all who leave, all who choose." Aaron stepped closer, feeling a mix of awe and reverence. "I have carried fear, hope, love, and grief," he whispered. The mountain hummed in acknowledgement. "To awaken is not to destroy," the voice continued. "It is to reveal, to test, to demand understanding." The stone pulse intensified, and visions flashed before Aaron. Moments from the past, choices not yet made, the fragile threads of life that intertwined within the mountain's eternal presence. Aaron realized the journey was no longer just about finding his father. It was about understanding the mountain, himself, and the essence of courage and truth. A final question lingered in the cavern. Will you take what you learn beyond these walls, or leave it buried within? Aaron's hands tightened into fists. He took a deep breath. The mountain waited, and he stepped forward into its heart. Choice of sacrifice narrator tense, immersive tone. The heart of the mountain pulsed beneath Aaron's feet, a living rhythm that echoed through his bones. A sudden surge of light from the mineral veins revealed two paths ahead. One path rose sharply, spiraling upward into a chamber bathed in ethereal glow. The other descended into a shadowed hollow, narrow and uncertain. A voice, older than the mountain itself, resonated within him. Every choice has a cost. Every truth demands a price. Aaron's heart tightened. Memories of the trials rushed back. The illusions, the first gate, the voice in the dark, his father's letter. The glowing path above promised answers, knowledge, and perhaps reunion. The shadowed descent below offered refuge, preservation, and safety, but at what cost? He thought of the father he sought, of the man who chose to stay, who left a legacy of courage and choice. Aaron realized the ultimate truth. This mountain demanded more than bravery. It demanded selflessness. He stepped toward the shadowed hollow. Immediately, the air grew heavier. Whispers from the walls intensified, recounting moments of past travelers who had chosen poorly. Fear surged, doubt clawed at his mind, but he pressed on. The descent twisted, the darkness almost tangible, yet his resolve did not waver. At the base, a chamber opened, revealing a pool of still water. The reflection of his father shimmered within. "You have chosen," the voice said softly, "to put the mountain, its lessons, and truth before desire." Aaron knelt beside the pool, placing his hand gently on the surface. Ripples spread, washing away the fears, the longing, the weight of indecision. A sense of calm, profound and humbling, filled him. He had survived the choice not by strength, nor by knowledge, but by understanding the value of sacrifice. The mountain hummed, a sound resonating with approval. Above him, the light of the chamber he had passed from shimmered, distant but present. He rose, knowing the final trial awaited. The mountain's voice whispered, "Softer now, you have learned courage, wisdom, and the weight of sacrifice. Now, carry it beyond these walls." Aaron breathed deeply, ready for the ultimate confrontation. Return with the light narrator, warm, triumphant tone. The mountain exhaled slowly, as if releasing centuries of held secrets. Aaron stepped from the shadowed hollow into a chamber bathed in radiant light. The crystals along the walls glowed brighter than he had ever seen, illuminating every crevice of the cavern. He felt lighter, as though the weight of fear, doubt, and grief had finally lifted. Ahead, a narrow passage led upward, spiraling toward the mountain's summit. Each step was deliberate, echoing softly through the vast hallways. When Aaron reached the final opening, dawn's first true light kissed the mountain's peak. Outside, the world was quiet but awake. Eldervale lay below, its forests, rivers, and valleys unchanged, yet transformed in his eyes. He breathed deeply, feeling the mountain's lessons resonate within him. Courage is not in fearlessness. Wisdom is not in knowing everything. Strength is not in surviving alone. It is in choice, sacrifice, and the willingness to face the unknown. A gentle wind carried the sound of distant bells, real or imagined, Aaron could not tell. But he smiled. He had walked fear, faced illusion, and understood truth. He had learned what it meant to carry the past without letting it anchor him. And as he descended toward the village, the mountain behind him stood silent, eternal, and aware. The journey had ended, but the lessons would endure. Aaron Hale returned, not as the boy who left Eldervale, but as a man who had touched the heart of a mountain and emerged with the light. And somewhere deep within, the mountain remembered. Forever.